Hi, in this video we are going to sketch the graph for the equation x squared minus y equals 1. And for an equation with simple numbers like x squared minus y equals 1, what I'd like to do is start off by seeing if I can just guess some simple answers. For example, if I were to make x 1 and y 0, then 1 squared minus 0 is 1. That's a solution. Or I can make x minus 1 and y 0. Minus 1 squared minus 0 is again 1. And the third simple solution I could find is x is 0 and y is negative 1. So there we have negative of negative 1, which is 1, a third simple solution. And in the previous video, we saw that we could calculate the slope at these 3 points. So if I make this the x-axis and this the y-axis, we're going to consider the points 1, 0, minus 1, 0, and 0 minus 1. And we saw in the previous video that the slope at 1, 0 is 2. So 2 is a fairly big number, and it's positive. The slope will be the slope is 2 and positive, so fairly steep, and I show it there. And then at the point minus 1, 0, the slope is negative 2, so again steep. 2 is a fairly big number, but negative, so in the opposite, slanted the opposite way. And finally, we found that the slope at 0 minus 1 was flat. It was 0. So we're already getting a sense of what the function might look like. The next thing I like to do is ask myself, what happens when x or y becomes a very big number? So for example, if x became 1,000, then y would have to be 999,999 because x squared is 1,000,000. So x is 1,000 and y is 999,999. We have a solution, which means that when x gets big, y gets huge. It's 1,000 times bigger. So it's going to be, what we're going to get then is that for a big x, we get an even bigger y, and it's off the chart, but I'll put it up here. A very big x is going to get a very big y, so maybe I should do it a little better. I'll put it up here. Big x and then a really big y, and in exactly the same way, if we had x was minus 1,000, since we're squaring it, the value of y is unchanged. For x is a negative big number, y is a really huge positive number. And so we could draw that here. We'll make x a big negative number and y a really big positive number. Okay, so we're getting an even better idea what the function might look like. And then the last thing I like to do is I like to ask, are there any simple regions with no solution? And for example, could y ever be negative 2? And the answer is no, because minus y, which is what's in the function, is plus 2. And x squared being a square is always a positive number. Y cannot be a very big negative number. The biggest negative number it can actually be would be negative 1, because minus 1 is already 1. So the last thing we can see is that there's regions. We can't have a big negative number for y, so there's regions that aren't bound. And those are our 3 clues. And then I like to just guess what the answer is. I connect the clues together. So I connect this point to this point, and this point to this point to this one, and this to this, and I have sketched what the function looks like. And we can compare it to the actual function, which is shown here, and you see we basically got the right shape. So I hope this video was helpful. I'll talk to you soon.